R.I.P. Tom Benson. Shout out to the whole Who That Nation. Now who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. Oh, who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. I got that fever, my people. See, we not equal, my people. I'm like that dog Saint underneath the steeple, my people. Got Drew Brees, he the feature, and our defense the sequel. The D-line and linebackers, man, they coming to reach ya. Make enemies some believers, cause we overachievers. DBs see 50-50 balls and we call them keepers. Y'all can follow this leader, cause Sean Payton will teach ya.
Saints Talk listeners, what's up? We back for another week of Saints Talk, the official podcast of NewOrleans.Football. I'm your host, Kevin Washington. As always, I'm here with Nick Underhill, the man behind the plan. Nick, say what's up to your loyal listeners.
What's up, everybody? Kev, I think your mic isn't set to the right output on the video. But yeah, I mean, look, we're back at it. It feels like we just talked to you guys last night, covered a lot of the game. If you guys are subscribers to the website, you heard a lot of the instant analysis, and I think a lot of that stuff still holds true after rewatching the game. You know, it just kind of was what it looked like live on the review. Some things came to light. We got the film study up on the website that just went up like 20 minutes ago. Lot to digest there. But the good thing is that Saints are sitting on a 4-2 record, and they can move into a tie for first place in the NFC South this weekend, despite all the issues that we keep talking about and the areas that need to be improved and all that. So life could be worse for the New Orleans Saints.
It could be worse if your accounting wasn't correct, though.
Hear you.
Ooh.
So,
hey,
I mean, some of the things that you know I think stood out immediately watching that game, and we talked to Sean Payton about this today. And this tweet set off like the most unnecessary firestorm that I can remember in recent history for no reason at all. He said that the wide receivers did not play to the expectation level that he hoped for, tweeted it out, and people kind of went off the rails about it. And look, I think that was an admission of what we all saw. And I mean, he said there were some plays with separation. And if you go through the tape, I mean, there were a handful of plays where they missed opportunities. I felt like there were at least 3 touchdowns left on the field with guys that were open. And there were some other plays too that didn't work out. And I think part of that comment too about him saying the receivers got good separation, Winston had guys to throw to, and there were some drop passes. So, I mean, it wasn't like they were sequestered by like some tight press man coverage. The way Seattle played like allowed for some breathing room, and they didn't take good enough opportunity of it. So that was the most interesting thing to me today, talking to Peyton, him admitting that there are some issues with the receivers. And I mean, it's extremely plain to see.
Yeah. Am I coming through now?
Here, Kevin. So I'm just going to keep talking to myself. You know, some of the things that I think the team needs to figure out immediately, though, is, you know, I think it's still all those skill position groups, and those are all things that you know they need to figure out how to get better at. You know, I still think there's a lot of room at tight end. There's a lot of room at wide receiver for them to get better, and you know, even running back. I think running back's a spot where they can make a move. So coming up on the trade deadline this week, handful of spots that I think they should take a look at and you know, try to find ways to get better at those spots. And you know, running back to me is a low key one with the way that they're kind of approaching these games. Kevin, I think I can hear you. Kev, the issues on the video, not in cast. The issues on the video. Can't hear you on the video side. So I think some of the issues that you know they still need to figure out. All right, they're saying they can hear you, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, just join the new cast. Just join the new cast. You guys are getting the inner craziness going on. Yeah, just join the Newcast link.
Yeah,
And,
so I mean, I think some of the things that they need to try to do. I mean, they got to address a bunch of these positions still, and running back's one of them for sure. I think that if they got another running back, it would take some pressure off of Kamara. You don't want to see him running as many times as he is, and I have concerns
Yep.
about how his longevity in the season, how long he can last, and getting another running back too. I think frees him up to do some more stuff in the passing game, get more creative with your formations. It was something they were trying to do. Tony Jones goes down, they lose him. So, I mean, there's a lot of spots for them that they can still get better. Running back's a low-key one. Wide receiver's obvious. Anything you can do at wide receiver. The other thing today, Twitter was in shambles today, man. Like, Willie
did they
Snead,
lose?
Willie Snead gets cut, and like I tweeted like the emoji, and like people are like snapping about that. Like, no, they need something better. They need wide receiver 1. They need wide receiver 2. They need wide receiver 4.
3.
They need wide receiver 5. They got a couple 3s.
Tight end 1, tight end 2, running back 2.
There's a lot of guys you could cycle out at these positions, and I think you got to keep churning it. And Willie's a guy that you could probably bring in real cheap deal, knows the offense, could pick it up quickly. And the question is he better than Kevin White? Is he better than Kenny Stills? Is he better than Lil Jordan Humphrey? Getting a player like that doesn't preclude you from making another move. You got to churn those spots and see if something hits. And they got a lot of room for improvement. And if there's a guy you can bring in that can give you 2 catches for 22 yards, that's more than you're getting out of some of these other guys that are on the field for
that's
30,
half the wide receiver
snaps.
production. That's half your receiver production from one game.
Yeah, so I mean, anything they can do, I think they should be looking at. And I'd be trying to find out what Snead has. He knows the system. He could come in and be seamless. Don't know. It's been a while since he's been leaned upon to do a lot for an offense, about 2 years now. But I mean, maybe there's something there. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I think are on other teams that could come here and contribute. The guys that aren't playing for other teams. Like, there's people on depth charts that are wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, other places that are. I mean, look, and I'm not knocking anybody. It's just the reality of the situation. Like Chris Hogan retires, and he's the option ahead of Kevin White. He's the option ahead of Kenny Stills. So Chris Hogan retires, and these two are playing because Chris Hogan isn't there. Like, you can do better than that. You got to churn it. And I think there's a chance Snead could be better than some of those guys. He might not be, but it would be worth finding out, I think.
So what was worse? Like, what's worse, the Saints' current wide receiver depth chart or my previous podcast host? Which one? We got to catch the weekly end stray, just to get the pod going. Someone in the chat made a funny comment. It was like, yeah, Kevin was trying to plug Sant CTA, and he was on, and Nick couldn't hear nothing he was saying.
Oh yeah, so we got sidetracked.
I gotta get my plug in. I was like, what's worse? You was like talking about bad. I said, what's worse? Having bad taxes, and then
bad taxes.
There you go.
Absolutely. Are you a business owner needing some guidance with your daily accounting? Daniel Sant CPA can help get your finances in order. They provide relevant accounting information, detailed analysis, and clear communications in a timely manner. Call today, 318-321-2765, or visit santcpa.com. They also do personal taxes, so get your personal taxes in order. I guarantee you they do a better job than whatever online website you're using to do it. Get a personal touch. They'll go over everything, make sure you're not making any mistakes. They're looking at angles you aren't looking at. One of my guys went there today, got his personal looked at, and he's coming out ahead.
And the new Jordans.
we're also sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Hit up the location on Veterans Boulevard. Show some love to the people that show us love. Firehouse Subs. I mean, the food's good. There's nothing else to say. The food's good. The food's good. They got good subs.
A lot of y'all read the film study article that came out today because of Firehouse Subs.
Yeah, there you go.
Some of y'all are going to be able to afford NewOrleans. Even though it's like pretty like low, you're undercharging. Wink, wink. If you get your taxes done, man, you can afford that NewOrleans.Football subscription. So
yeah, they'll save you $9, man.
Yeah, SantCPA.com easily.
More than $9, but you'll be $9 at. You can get the whole year, 89.
Elite.
By the elite.
Elite. Yeah, take a step up, man. 318-321-2765, SantCPA.com. So, shout out to the man making, saving Nick all these extra extra pesos. So we got love for the people that support us. So all right, let's get into this game. But I think you was kind of alluding to it earlier, but just based on the film study, it seems like everything that you kind of saw initially, and listen, guys, as always, the film studies on the website, go read it. We're not going to rehash it, but just, we'll maybe talk about the title in the first paragraph or something. But it seems like everything kind of, pretty much held steady, based on what you was able to see today from when with the all-22 study and the end zone view.
What was the question?
Yeah, I said pretty much like the initial reaction from the game, it kind of held steady, based on what you saw in the film study.
Yeah, the held steady. I was a little surprised by some of the opportunities they missed. There were a handful of plays that were a little bit surprising. Some of the things that they weren't able to see, and then some of the stuff. I don't want to keep bashing on the receivers, but some of the stuff with the receivers was a little bit worse.
Is it worse
in this game? Yeah, like the play where Winston was like running and pointing down the field for someone to go, and it's just like everybody kind of just stood there and looked at it. Like I don't think that was a bluff. Like I legitimately think he was trying to direct field traffic down the field, and just nobody did anything. I mean, there's some little detail things that were just not great. You watch some of the route running, and it's just they're with them at the stem, and it's just kind of guys not getting open the way that necessarily you'd like. I thought. And it's hard with Callaway because he had a pretty decent blunder on second down when he didn't try to get the first down on that.
Yeah.
But I thought otherwise he played pretty good. I mean, there were some physical catches. He looked better than he has on a chemistry level and just some physicality in some of the things he was doing.
Okay.
But I thought Jameis played pretty good for the most part. Like I said, some missed opportunities. Some details that were a little bit off.
I mean,
the
bars drew. Yeah, I get
it. Was
I
mixed.
He played well enough for them to win, though, right? I mean, even if they would have, like, he wasn't the reason why the offense. I wouldn't say he was the reason why the offense struggled. Like, well, he was part of it because he missed some throws and some plays, but I think he made enough throws and enough plays where they should have put more points on the board. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, but the long drive, he missed the touchdown. There was a wide open touchdown on that pass to Callaway, and he held it too long, and it doesn't get completed. So I mean, that's on him too. I mean, you got to hold him accountable like everybody else. I thought he could have had a better game in some instances. Wasn't a bad game. It's just that there was some stuff that he could have done better, and it's going to be a growing process for him. It's going to be a growing process for with the receivers. There's a lot of stuff that's got to get better. But he left some stuff on the field, but he's protecting the ball. He's not making mistakes. The bad throw percentage, I know what some sites have it. I don't believe it's I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good rate of turnover worthy plays and all that.
I didn't see any of this game.
No, nothing was at risk. Nothing was at risk, and that's big. And some of the stuff we're talking about, like if one of those two deep passes to Kevin White or Stills gets caught, it changes the complexion a little bit.
Traquan Smith keeps running.
Yeah, that first drive stays alive. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's just got to be better overall on offense. Defensively, I mean, just amazing. I mean, I thought Davenport was arguably the best player on the field, if not right there with DeMario. Both of them were incredible. I thought the coverage was really good. I thought it was just a really outstanding defensive performance.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to some of those guys. One thing I'll note that was funny, and I wrote it down like last night before our pod, and I don't know why I didn't bring it up because I thought it was super funny. But as like when Jameis and Traquan got into it on the sidelines, like Sean was looking so proud of Jameis. Like he was like, okay, that's my boy. It was the craziest thing. And he's like looking straight at him, man. I thought it was hilarious. He's probably like proud of Jameis or something like that, man.
I loved how he did it, man. Honestly, I loved it. I loved him going after him. Ownership, take command of the team.
Yeah.
People got to be accountable to him. He's got to be accountable to the team. Everybody's got to be accountable to everything. But for him to kind of take charge and, hey, this is my team. Like you like to see those moments, and that was like an assertive. It was an assertive moment for him, and I thought it was. I thought it was a little bit important. But yeah, Sean was like kind of like that meme where like the kid's like looking, he's got his hand on his stomach, and like he just kind of he's like, no, I'm good. Like
you got this.
Yeah. That like Pete Carmichael's like kind of in the middle of it, and then he's not. It's just like, all right,
he ain't gonna do nothing.
I thought that was a good moment though, and
yeah, it's funny.
It's gonna be productive and everything, but it was a good moment for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny, is like I've never seen Drew do that. I'll be honest. Like I can't ever remember seeing him do that, but I think that's good that he's kind of doing things his own way. Drew probably has chewed out someone. I don't know. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but
Yeah, Drew probably never had a guy blocking on a passing play though,
Well, yeah, that guy wouldn't have been in the game. I don't think Drew ever had weapons this bad, and Drew's had some lackluster receivers, but what Jameis has to work with, he's I'd be looking at Sean like, look, man, I know you the guru and all, but I need you to figure this out. Like, what Meacham at? What Devery? Like, I'm just trying to see if Lance Moore is free. Anybody, like, who's available. So how did they use, and I think Traquan, he netted the second most snaps out of all wide receivers this game. So, maybe the pitch count may have been limited. I don't know, but he played a decent enough number of snaps to get a feel for, like how they want to use him, etc. So, like, how did they use him? Like, what was his role in this game? Was he going deep, intermediate, all three levels? Like,
yeah, he was doing everything. Yeah, I mean, he was running everything. It just, it just wasn't working well. That's all.
It wasn't good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To the subscribers of NewOrleans.Football, we we spoke about Traquan last night, and we had a little talk about it. We're not going to rehash it here, but I would suggest you guys go, if you haven't heard that pod, go back and check it out, because I had some thoughts, and they're out there in the ether, so you guys can go check it out. So one thing about this game, and I think after the game, I kind of thought about the game today, because I'm like, okay, it's Tuesday, back-to-back pods. Like, how do I, the day after the game, right? Because, like you said, when you watch the game and you get to the film, and I haven't got to the film yet, but, it kind of changes how you think about it sometimes. And so I was like, okay, well, was I too hard on them? And I don't think I was, but I do think that I probably didn't consider the rain and the weather as much. And I'm just wondering, like,
yeah, that was something I kind of overlooked a little bit too. I'm sure I had some factor in some things. It's tough to account for all that though, if it's not like a driving rain or something like that. Yeah. So I'm sure I had some effect on it though, but it didn't look like it affected Jameis's throws. Like he was accurate down the field. So when like that stuff isn't, did it affect some catches? I don't know. I mean, I didn't see it affecting other people except,
Kevin White and Ken Steele.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I had some impact in some things, but yeah, I don't think it was like super significant.
Okay. Yeah. I was just wondering, and I didn't see anything, but I was thinking like, okay, well, they dropped a couple of passes, and I don't know, maybe Jameis doesn't make some of those throws because of it, but I couldn't find anything tangible that said, okay, they're not doing this because of the field conditions or the weather or something like that, or the wind or et cetera. So, yeah, one kind of final thing on the offense is, like, what do you think? How did the O-line block this game? Because they got McCoy back, and it was interesting listening, because I think McCoy does the line calls for the Saints, and Drew said that it was just a random fact, but he didn't make any line calls when he was in San Diego, and he said that once he got to New Orleans, he started like making them all, and it's just it's just another way of like how things are changing for the Saints, how it's not like it used to be, because before it was a quarterback. And McCoy, I guess this is McCoy's first season making the line calls, even though we think of him as this guy who's really settled in his position. So, I thought that was just a little bit of an interesting nugget there. But yeah, how did the O-line play? Teron's back, McCoy's back, Ruiz went back to guard. So how did he look shifting back to where he was, and how did those two guys returning from injury play last night?
I thought they blocked pretty well for the most part. It didn't seem like Jameis was under a lot of pressure, a handful of plays, but nothing outstanding or anything like that. I thought they handled the blitz plays well. I don't think it was a big issue. I mean, I thought Ruiz played pretty decently. There were a couple things that could have been a little bit better. I thought the run blocking was okay. It could have been a little bit better. They didn't get much going. the thing with that is they were doing a lot of heavy stuff at run sets.
They kind of
12
sold out
two
for
tight end, two tight end personnel, 2 running back personnel, jumbo, stuff like that. And when you do that, it puts 7, 8 guys in the box, and it's tough to get anything going. And they average like 2 yards per carry on those runs. On the plays where they had 3 receivers out there, I think it was like 4.6. So it was just kind of the way they set it up, and that's probably deliberate. You set some stuff up on those looks, and it you got to work off it, and you suck them in, and it opens some things up in other areas. So it all kind of goes together. There's a puzzle that they're putting together with all that stuff.
Okay.
So some of those plays weren't working too great, but they had a purpose. Ramczyk was okay. There were, I think there's a couple weird plays this season that maybe you didn't see before. One of them got called back on a penalty. It was a sack, I think, that came back on a penalty. That was a little bit iffy. But overall, he was fine. I thought Ruiz was fine. McCoy was outstanding. Armstead was outstanding. Throckmorton played really good after he came in for Pete.
There you go. Like, how did that loss affect this team this past game and going forward? Like the loss.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like rude or dismissive. This has nothing to do with Andrews Pete. Like when guys get hurt on the offensive line, I just don't really even worry about it at this point. Like they've plugged and played so well that one guy going down, it's not really anything to be worked up about. 2, you kind of start looking at it. You get to a 3rd guy, okay, but like they always have the depth. They're that well coached that it just feels like something happens and it's just not a big deal. And it's years of a track record of this now. And
yeah, that's true. Senio Clemente was coming and playing every position on the O-line and, got a contract because of it. So absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not something I'm too worried about. I mean, I think they'll be able to cover that fine. And, I don't think you're going to notice, like Tron being out, you didn't really notice it that much. I don't think you're going to notice this one that much. I think Throckmorton's going to be able to do a fine job, hold it down, and it's just business as usual.
Okay. All right. So, man, I feel like
Lutz being out for the year is a bigger deal to me.
There you go. As you took the words out of my mouth, I was thinking like this is the thing that kind of scares me the most out of pretty much like anything is what does that mean? Like I'm terrified of the field goal kicking now going forward.
What does it mean? I mean, either Brian Johnson's good or he isn't. I mean, that's what it means. I thought he got off to a good start though. I mean, it wasn't long kicks. What was it, 33 and 21
pressure,
or something like that?
It was pressure though. It was some pressure.
Yeah, pressure kicks, wet.
Exactly.
So yeah. I mean, there was a little something there, but we'll see what his distance is as he gets out. He never missed an extra point in college. I think he was 76% last year at Virginia Tech, above 80 the year before that. So I think he'll be okay. He's probably not going to be Lutz. He'll probably miss some kicks, but it feels like he has the pedigree to be good. But I guess any kicker coming into the NFL would have that pedigree, and some guys are good and some guys aren't. So we're going to find out kind of what he is at this level. But I thought he did good. I thought he held it down. And
Good start.
Yeah, he did. He did. After one game, I have more confidence in him than Cody Parker or Rosas.
Rojas.
Yeah. So he's off to at least a better start than those guys. That's a big loss, though, man. Like,
big loss.
If this team, God, I'm gonna like foreshadow something here that's gonna turn out bad, and someone's gonna pull up this clip on me and like say I jinxed them or something. But like you get into the playoffs, like your kicker usually has to make one of those kicks. I think you feel better about it with Lutz than
the rookie.
Yeah,
rookie who's kicked his first 2 NFL field goals last night. So I mean, but those, I will say that was a pressure kick that he had to kick. I mean, you could say it was short kick.
Yeah, no, it was a pressure kick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like they don't make that kick.
Tough atmosphere, all that. Like it was
weather.
It was the hardest short kick that you could have. Like really, it was. There's something called a bomb cyclone going on. There's rain, loud crowd, all that stuff, man. So I mean, degree of difficulty on that kick was off the charts, but they gotta make sure he's reliable, at least from 45 yards in or something. Like you can't be a good team and squander points. Like it just doesn't work. You lose games because of it. The Saints already lost games because of it.
Yep.
And that's something that has to be better. By the way, 1 million people have asked us for the hats. We got the hats.
Hey,
the hats will never be for sale. It's drawing for people that are signed up for the site. So if you're already on the site, we got a handful of hats. We'll raffle them off at some point. Your name's in there. We'll pull it. There'll be a second raffle. People that sign up during these podcasts for the rest of the season, at the end of the season, you guys will be in your own pool. You'll get hats. We got hoodies coming too. People that are already on, they'll get some hoodies. People that sign up during the pods, they'll be in that drawing. So sign up during the shows. you'll get it slightly. You'll get some odds to win. But
It's
we're
a
never going
chance.
to sell this stuff. So if you want them, you got to be signed up for the site.
But I will say I might have an extra hat. And in the
Nah.
spirit of Tom Brady, if anyone wants to trade a NewOrleans.Football hat for a Bitcoin, call me because I'm open for business.
There you go. There you go.
I'll take the 63K. Nick doesn't pay me that much. I can be bought. Yeah, man. So you alluded to it earlier, like and I'm going to entertain this because I think it should be entertained. I'll be honest with you, and I'm pretty sure we're on the same page here. And just not this one player, but I'm gonna start with him. Like, do you think they should sign Snead? Like, do you think that's a move they should look at doing?
Absolutely, yeah. Any wide receiver that's available, sign him. Like, no, I mean seriously, like anybody that has a certain type of pedigree.
You can't say that, bro. You can't just say that.
Anybody that has a certain type of pedigree, I think you should sign them. You know, like I like it's just that's what they do though. They churn the bottom of their roster, and that's a position that can be churned. I think you got to churn it and try to see what's there. You know, it's like they're constantly signing guys for the practice squad, cutting other guys, and you just keep that constant search to see what talent's out there, to see if something hits. I think that's what you got to do at wide receiver. So yeah, absolutely, go get Snead.
Should they sign me?
No.
All right.
Nah.
All right.
You can't beat out these guys, man.
I think I can catch. I'd have caught that Kenny Stills and that Kevin White ball.
I don't know.
Just saying, man.
We'll see.
Yeah. I think they should do something. Like how aggressive, and with respect to draft conversation, with respect to the salary cap, with respect to, hey, you might want to move up in the draft for position next year, whatever that position may be. You guys don't kill me for that, but like, how aggressive do you think they should be in trying to, bring in someone else, as a receiver? And it don't have to be a wide receiver, tight end. I don't know, Eric Ebron, and I'm pretty sure there's some tight ends out there. But yeah, just how aggressive do you think they should be in trying to find someone else?
Third round pick or so, probably. I think would be appropriate. Like if you did it for Bradley Roby, I think you can do it on an offensive player. I think it'd be worth it. I wouldn't give up a 1 or a 2 or anything like that. I don't know if getting a wide receiver puts you in the Super Bowl. Like I think if you're giving up a 1 or 2, like that's a Super Bowl type move. Like this is okay. If
depends on who the wide receiver is.
if you're a team though, and you're okay, one guy away, like I think that's when you make that type of move. I wouldn't do it for this. The third for Roby too was to eat some cap. So I mean that's even the type of player you should be able, comparatively speaking, get back at a 3. I think it should be a little bit better at wide receiver if you were doing that and taking on the whole contract. So yeah, I mean, I would give up a 3. Someone that's going to be around beyond this season. If there's more than 1 year on the contract, you can afford it because they're going to need wide receivers in the next season. So it's still a need. So I would trade for one, and then next year I would turn around and draft one.
Yeah, ideally, if you can get one who's still like maybe on some type of friendly deal, even a rookie deal, where you don't have to, and you can afford that player, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't think, if I was to think of the teams that are struggling the most in the NFL, I don't think you look at those teams and see any one of those squads who, other than the Texans and Brandon Cooks, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's a reason other than football, maybe why he won't be a Saint, but that's just me speculating. But yeah, I just don't. And listen, I think they should make a move. I think we're both in agreement that position.
Never say never, though, man. On that stuff, like the Kenny Stills era ended oddly the first time. Jimmy Graham's situation ended pretty poorly, and there was interest in trying to bring him back. I mean, there was a contract offer at one point, and I think he picked Green Bay over the Saints. So you can never say never on some of those situations.
That's true. I'll concede that point. It does seem unlikely, but yeah, that's true.
And there's no like maybe about like the Brandon Cooks situation was like out there. Like there was a Brandon Cooks situation other than football that
and I just think maybe him and another wide receiver, and I don't know. I listen, we'll see what happens, but they need to do something because neither one of those guys are on the field for the Saints, and so someone got to be. But yeah, I just look at the teams like the current draft order: Detroit, no one; Philly, no one; Houston. We talked about Cooks, Jets. They got a young guy. They're not trading anyone. Jacksonville, the Giants, Seattle was one of those teams at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, when I look at the list of teams, like who are the worst teams with the worst records in NFL, I don't see a team that's going to say, all right, we're not in contention. We're willing to trade away a somewhat valuable receiver. So like you said, you never say never. You never know what's going to happen. If they're aggressive enough, maybe they can pull something out of the hat. But it just seems like this group that they're running with now that's who they're going to have to win with. Unless they're like ultra aggressive. And I think it kind of just goes to show like how important it is to get Mike back. And I think it was on First Take today. It was on First Take today, and Keyshawn Johnson, as his uncle, and he's obviously very high on the Saints because there's a little nepotism involved there, understandably. But yeah, he was talking. He was like, man, I think there's a chance Mike comes back against the Bucks, and I'm like, I didn't get the feeling that he was speaking from knowledge, but that's his uncle, so it at least made me like perk up and listen. I was like, okay, well, that's something. So, but yeah, it just kind of goes to show how important he is to this team, and he has to come back and he has to be good. Like we don't need a ramp up period for Mike. We don't need a Traquan Smith game from you, Mike.
To your point, I don't think there are a lot of teams that are probably in like full out tank mode at this point.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough to find someone that's just going to, even like everyone keeps talking about, like I don't think the Bears are far enough out to be in full on tank mode. Falcons and Panthers, those aren't trade partners. I don't see Dan Campbell tearing down his team. I mean,
who does he have to trade though? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, but like they're trying to win games, and man, that team is playing for him, man.
I feel bad for him, man. I want him to win. I'd be rooting for Detroit, which is crazy.
I mean, that team wants it. It's impressive to see. Like when he got hired, you're kind of like, what does he do well? What's he gonna do? Like you kind of see how his presence is like it's a key. I think he needs good people around him and everything like that. But he's instrumental to that, and that energy. I mean, it's something that I think his team loves him, and that matters. I mean, it really does matter, especially when you're trying to establish a culture. Like they're trying to turn something around there. To your point, though, look, the thing with Mike is like if Mike fills in that hole the same way that Davenport filled in the hole on the defensive line.
Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope.
You kind of see how it can happen, and Davenport didn't cure everything, but he fixed enough that it was different and good enough. And I don't think bringing Mike back cures everything because there's issues beyond him, but it fixes enough. It's going to make everybody else just a little bit better. And if it can work like that worked, it's a different proposition moving forward.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think bringing Mike back, I think it fixes. Well, let's quantify the version of Mike that we're talking about. If Mike comes back like Mike, right?
Mike comes back at 80%.
That's Mike.
400% better.
Yeah, that's Mike. Then that is a fundamental shift in what this team can do offensively. One thing, Mike is a chain mover, right? Like, and Saints are already one of the better third down teams, but this guy, he's a chain mover, right? That's what he does. He catches the ball, he catches it in volume against man coverage, against zone, all of that stuff. And so, you get Deontay back, who I think is I tweeted, I said, I think Deontay and losing Deontay and Taysom and trading for Traquan and Van Ness, I said, I don't think that's a good switch. I think you were better off before. But you get, Harris back, you have a deep threat. And then I think, as hard as I was on Traquan, I do think he'll settle in better. That last game, I don't know. I just don't want to judge him too hard off that game. I think there's more to Traquan Smith than that last game.
Yeah, I mean, he should be someone that should be able to get 40 yards a game. I mean, that shouldn't be a bridge too high.
Low bar.
I mean,
that's 40.
I mean, it should be. I mean, man, 60 yards a game, you're a 1,000-yard receiver. 40 yards a game. I don't know what that comes out to over 17 games. 400.
Oh, 17 now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, his career high is 448 or something like that. Like he should be able to average 30, 40 yards a game and get to that, whatever the average is before the start of the season. We said like But I said I thought he'd be capable of getting like 600 yards or something like that. Someone can check the record on that. But I think that was what we set the over under on
Something
him,
like
somewhere
that.
around there.
Something like that.
And that doesn't seem like an outrageous number for a guy that stays healthy, former 3rd round pick. I think it's probably actually disappointing for what they spent to acquire him. You're expecting more than that. He should be able to meet that. If he doesn't, man, just 30 yards a game would be a help. But lower at 20, like just be involved and
20 yards a game, bro.
don't block down the field on a passing play. Like know what's going on, have your be assignment sound, get 20, 30, 40 yards a game, and it's something, it's something.
I think with the ability to stretch the field,
he'll be better.
I think if you got Mike out there, because Mike is going to draw attention. Like and we're talking 80 to 100% Mike here, right? And and his uncle said he said, man, Mike is probably just trying to be 100% when he gets back. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? And this is all what his uncle said. I'm just speculating here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the same thing.
Yeah,
he said it on the podcast last night.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't want to, be putting. I know the information changed. So, but yeah, and so if you got a healthy Mike, 80 to 100% Mike, who is, obviously he's a top 3, top 5 wide receiver, depends on, where you shift him and how you right now in the current league, that's probably top 3 because some of the guys like Odell and Hopkins are not as good as they used to be. And you got a field stretcher over there with Harris, then I think it becomes easier for like Marquez Callaway it becomes easier for Sean Payton to get Marquez Callaway in a slot on a linebacker or something, right? Like the things that he used to be able to do and kind of create these matchups where he can exploit them. I think having a guy like Mike and having a field stretcher allows you to do more things, allows you to bring back the middle of the field where you really don't have much production. So I think Traquan will be a little bit better, and I think Marquez Callaway will be better if we get a good Mike, because he so much has to be focused on him, and then you can't give up the over the top, right? So that's 2 safeties in a lot of ways right there, unless you got a dominant corner. I just think that opens up the offense a little bit. You can't double bracket Alvin like that no more, right? Alvin, Mike, and Deontay deep. I just think it gives the offense options, and it kind of allows a guy like maybe Troutman, Van Ness, Juwan Johnson, Callaway, Traquan Smith. These guys can make plays now because they're just fit. They're just trying to fit. They're just fitting pieces within the play, and they're not necessarily the focus. Like you play the Saints now, you're like, okay, I just got to stop Marquez Callaway. It's like what?
Yeah, double Alvin and make him win outside. Really, that's
Right.
all you got to. That's all you got to do right now.
Yeah.
And that changes that. A couple of people in the chat are saying that Mike doesn't cure everything. I don't think anyone's insinuating that he cures everything. I think they should still trade for another guy, but he cures something.
He cures a lot.
He cures something.
Yeah, 80 to 100%. Mike cures a lot. Like, and I'm the lowest on the wide receivers. I'm the bottom. I've been saying they were worst in the league since week 1, right? But Mike Thomas, I'm talking 2019 version of Mike. That's a game changer. I don't need to spin that any other way. If he comes back, he's a game changer. He's that good. But that's an if, just like the other, just a bunch of ifs with the Saints this season. That's just another one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he does change a lot. And, he'll change this team more than probably any other player. I would probably say, well, I won't go that far, but yeah, they need Mike. So, so the defense, this side of the ball, just, a little quick on them. How did, other than the one play that the explosive that he gave up to DK, and I think it's the 5th play of the game, how did Marshawn play like in his other snaps?
He gave up one other catch to DK, and I think one more beyond that. So, I mean, he was
Marshawn.
Yeah, he was really good. It's unfortunate that he gave up that catch too, because I thought this was a shining example of his ability to cover.
Mm-hmm.
He got caught up in some dumb stuff. Outside of that, I mean,
Right.
He hurt his team by getting caught up in some of the stuff. I get why it happened. I mean, this guy was trying to bully him, and I think there was a sense of him snapping back that the rest of the team kind of fed off of. So I think there was like a hidden positive, but you can't get a flag. You can't get 2 flags, especially. You get 1 fine, 2, second one's on you, and you can't react to it at that point. And you're getting suckered into something the way CD Deuce gets guys in the thing. So you can't have that. But
real quick before you go, when DeMario was talking about like like not talking before and after the whistle. I was like, bro, your slot corner is exhibit A. But
Yeah.
whatever though, man. Just do what you do tomorrow, yo.
But yeah, I mean, I thought he covered really well. Debo, I thought covered really well. They didn't really give up anything in the passing game. I thought it was pretty solid. Some stuff on the linebackers. Overall, though, a really good coverage
Was
game.
the-
I mean, this defense is
They're
defense
good.
is elite.
Was
Man.
the other
It's
one that
special.
Marshawn gave away? Was that the one he was playing off, giving the inside leverage? And
Yeah, he gave up like 11 yards or 12 yards or something.
Okay,
Like something.
okay.
It was a nothing play. Like nothing you even. It's just
yeah, that coverage was designed to give away that route.
yeah,
too. I remember-
happens.
I
Go on
remember
to the
that
next one. But yeah, I mean, overall the coverage was really good.
Okay. Yeah, and I was kind of reflecting on the game, and I was thinking like Seattle has another really good wide receiver who I don't even remember him. Did he make a catch? I'm trying to remember. Like,
Lockett. I mean, he made a couple, but it was
yeah,
nothing.
but
I mean,
he
they
was
held him down. They held him down really well. Yeah.
yeah, like Lockett is one of those guys who you would beg for. It's like he's a perfect Saint, right? And the guy that's good, and this defense just totally took a guy who I consider like a Pro Bowl level wide receiver out of the game. So that does bode well. CD, did you? I'm not. I think he was. How did he play? I'm not sure we spoke about him, because I've been kind of. I know he had maybe some assignments.
Nothing really that
game,
popped out in this game. It was
Okay.
a fine performance. I thought he covered well. Like he got Lockett in the slot a handful of times, so he was doing his job there. He had to run stuff at one point and clean up kind of
From DeMario, yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that one.
I thought he did okay in this game. There wasn't anything that stood out negatively, really, about anybody in the secondary. Marcus Williams took a weird angle on the first play. Got caught there.
I'm not worried about him at all. Like that notion about Marcus and the tackling and all that other stuff. Like I'm done with all that.
It was one play. He took one bad angle.
One
and he's
bad
taken
angle.
500 good angles. Yeah.
Yep. Malcolm had the sack at the end, which was big. I thought that. The
Lockett
secondary
had 2 catches for 12 yards.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
I mean, they got half their receiving yards on one play. Yeah.
Over half, right? It was like that's crazy. Yeah. They dominated. That was as dominant. And listen, you can say what you want to say. Road, Seattle. And if you're a dominant defense, you dominate teams like that. They did every single thing a dominant defense does. They traveled. Can we talk about Sean Payton's road record, by the way? And he was retweeting his sleep doctor today, and I was just reading. She was talking about some of the stuff they did, how he's following the science, and he went to Seattle early to get them acclimated, and they stayed a day later. And he was like he's smart enough to follow the advice of his sleep doctor, and he retweeted it. And I was looking at the thread that she put out, and it was pretty interesting. So, just it made me think about, man, this team on the road is like you think of the Saints like as this dominant team in the Superdome, but like their road record is, I don't know if it's just as good as better. I would need to look it up, but it just bears like acknowledging like how good, they play on the road, which, I think that bodes well for a team who may end up in the wild card slot if they make it to the playoffs. So, it's definitely something to think about. Final couple of things. I just, how did you see an effect that Davenport had on the play of? Because we know Davenport was good, right? I mean, I don't think we need to really like overanalyze that. You also wrote about it. NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Article went up probably. It must have been like 7:30. I don't know, Nick. You've been working all day, so you guys make sure you go check that out because the article is up and is live now. But he was good. He was pushing people around. I always say, like, when he's on the field, when you start seeing bodies fly around, then Davenport is probably somewhere near it. But how did his play affect the other guys, right? Because I think that's something that you can kind of, some people can maybe lose sight of, right? Like the game he comes back to have 5 sacks. Right now, they played against bad offensive lines before, and they didn't dominate them like they should have. The Panthers have a bad O-line. I think they could have did better against the Giants, and the Washington football team didn't have some of their guys. But yeah, just how does his play affect the other players? Cam got his first sack, etc.
Yeah, it opens things up, and there were a few of those already. I mean, him flushing the pocket. He flushed the pocket on one play. Cam gets involved in the pressure. Ball comes out. CD Deuce almost has the interception.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just those are the things that have to happen. And there aren't a lot of plays that you're going to look at. I mean, there's a handful of guy wins straight up, but a lot of guys have good sack numbers half of them are going to be off of opportunities created by other
Yeah.
people, and stuff gets flushed out. The quarterback gets moving. He gets exposed. You can get off a block. You can hit him. You get a sack, force him into a mistake. There's just a lot of that happening. And
Yeah.
getting these guys working in concert is going to make everything better, and it's going to create more opportunities. Onyemata comes back. You start getting that center pressure.
Manitola Mauler.
And
That's
then
your boy. I'm ready to see him, bro. Come back.
Yeah, I mean, look, he gets out there though, and he'll start spilling stuff out to the sides. You come up to the middle, it's pushing quarterback left or right, and that gives Davenport an opportunity, or Cam an opportunity, or Peyton Turner when he's eventually back out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna get better. All that stuff works together.
I think
Davis got a sack off a lot of more coverage. I mean, it's just everywhere. When guys are playing good, more good players, more opportunities, more sacks, more uncomfortable quarterbacks, more interceptions. It all works together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just super, like, for me, I always say D line is the most. That's the part of football I enjoy watching the most. I like watching guys rush the passer. I don't know what it is. It's just, everybody got their picks. And just to see the impact that he had pretty much almost instantly, I was like, okay, well, I think you said it best, where he's come back hot before and then he kind of tails off. He has tailed off
Just last year.
Yeah, last year, right? And so this year is something, and I said it last night, is he needs health and he needs consistency. I don't have any other questions about him as a player. That's it. If he's healthy and he's just consistent, because I don't think there's a talent issue. I don't think there's like a issue of him being a bust as it pertains to him not being a good enough player in this league. I just think it's those two. And so, I definitely think he's like a player who I think is good by himself, right? Which is important, because I think some of the other guys who are on the line other than him and Onyemata, they kind of need maybe a little bit more help. And Cam even says it. He was like, man, I got my first sack because the guy was here. It's like he does a lot for him. And, apparently Onyemata's been wrestling bears in this time off. So, and I think your guest writer from this past week, Brandon Thorne, I think he said he had like the second highest pressure rate inside. He had, I forget exactly his quote. I would have to go look it up, but he had Onyemata, ranked high as one of the interior pressure guys too. So, just you get that type of infusion of talent back on your defense, in specifically your D line. I just think, it's right on time. And, Superdome against the team that won the Super Bowl. And I think you couldn't draw it up any better. So, how did Quan play this game too? He's one other player.
He didn't get many snaps. He was out there in a couple of pass rush situations.
Okay.
Nothing that stood up.
Okay. Yeah, I saw him out there at the end of the game, and I think he was like lined up on the line of scrimmage and kind of dropped back into his zone. But yeah, for the most part, I didn't see much from him. So, okay, guys. Well, that'll do it for us. We recorded last night, and we recorded tonight, and we're recording Friday. That's NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. 3 pods a week. Show me who else giving you 3 pods a week. Analysis all over the place. Guest analysis. We streaming stuff. You can get you some t-shirts. We giving away free subs. People who used the Firehouse code last week. We got people, you can get a CPA if you listen to the pod. You can I just don't know what else to do, man. Sign up. But no, seriously, man, thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you guys for joining. As we say, we always like to see some of the comments in the live pod. So thank you guys for joining us. Like and subscribe, share the pod. Anything you do can help us. We really appreciate that. With that said, thank you guys for listening. We will see you Friday. We out.